Can you imagine beginning the school year with the principal gathering all the students together and reminding them of every single infraction, every single punishment, every single detention, every single failed test, every single suspension? I mean, all the dirt right there, beginning of the year. This does not sound like a great start to the year. And yet, Moses, our great teacher, Moshe Rabbeinu, we call him our great teacher, begins his farewell speech to the Jewish people about a month or so before he passed away, which is, of course, the book of Devarim, the fifth book of the Torah. He begins it with a litany and a list of all of the sins and the rebellions and the punishments and the infractions of the Jewish people that they committed during their time in the desert. This doesn't sound like a great way of starting the book. So why does he do this? And many commentaries discuss this. I want to give you just a brief idea from Nachmanides, the Ramban, who says that he believes that the purpose of this was to show the Jewish people that despite all of their sins, despite all of their rebellions, despite all the punishments, God still loved them. And not only did he love them, but all the covenants and the promises are still in force. And he is going to bring them into the land of Israel. And he is going to sustain them throughout a lengthy future. And so really mentioning all these sins, albeit in a hint, through hints, etc., but mentioning all these sins is to actually encourage the Jews. Is to say, you know what, you're still here, and I'm still with you, and you're still coming into Israel, and I still love you. And I think there might be something we can add. There are some commentaries who say that not only is it saying that God still loves the Jewish people despite their sins, what this might be saying is God loves us because once we did the sins and repented, once we corrected our faults, once we received punishment for what we did wrong, once we went through trials and tribulations in order to get to that final event, we're actually better than we were before. There is a Japanese art called kintsukuroi, in which they break porcelain or pottery and then fix it using gold lacquer to put it together. And the end result in Japanese culture, they say, is not beautiful despite being broken. It's actually more beautiful because it was broken. And that, I think, is what the book of Devarim, the book of Deuteronomy, Moshe Rabbeinu is telling the Jewish people. Not only is God still in love with us, not only are all the covenants still applicable, but we're actually even more beautiful because we lived through all this, we repented, we became better people, and now we are more beautiful for all of that. I think the same is true for every single one of us. We may have gone through trials and tribulations and problems. We may have done the wrong thing. But if we're in the process of correction of those things, we're in the process of improvement, we're in the process of moving forward, we are like kintsukuroi, not only beautiful despite the breaks, but even more beautiful because of those breaks. And that is one of the lessons of the book of Devarim.